Oh. You are going to get a little bit of time to work on your substitution problems if you still have some. Remember, I'm going to check off all three things tomorrow during class. But my plan was not to give you another work day on it. It was to kind of move on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start elimination with you guys today. And we're going to do, I don't know, however many problems. And I'm going to try to give you, like at least 20 minutes. I guess it kind of just depends on how long it takes us to go over things. But I'm going to try to give you 20 minutes towards the end of the hour to work on whatever you need to get done. So I'm going to assign a few problems from elimination. But if you need to finish up substitution, you should do that first. The substitution test is going to be on Wednesday. I didn't write it up there yet. But so basically immediately, I shouldn't say immediately, the same day that I'm going to check your work. Do we feel like tomorrow is too soon for that one, or should that be fine? Tomorrow's good? Okay. I definitely wanted it soon enough that you wouldn't forget things, and I didn't want it too late that you would. So I kind of felt like 2 days after the last time we went over it, it should be pretty good. Okay, so we'll do that. So in your packet, this kind of left-hand corner, I put a box around it so it would be a little bit clearer. This is kind of separate from what's written on the right-hand side. This was in place of like problem number 1. And I'm okay if you want to do this with me, but otherwise I can also just put it up on the smartboard. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go into Desmos and type in this equation, 3x minus 5y equals 18. And if you wanted to do it as well, feel free. So I typed it in already. And it's that red line. The next thing it says is multiply everything by 4. So underneath it, I have everything multiplied by 4, but I don't have it graphed yet. What do we think is going to happen to the graph if we multiply everything by 4? Is it going to be 4 times higher? Is it going to be 4 times longer? I don't know what. Does anybody have like a guess what they think is going to happen? Or should I have you guys just graph it on your own and find out? I think you're back to your normal. It's the exact same line. Yeah. If you multiply everything by 4, it goes directly on top of the one that's red. So, I guess what we're supposed to try to figure out something from that. So the multiplied by 4 would be 12x minus 20y equals 72. But when we did that, we got the identical graph. So the conclusion is supposed to be if you multiply the entire equation by the same number. It won't change any answers. Now, what we're going to do with that info is we're going to use that to help us solve the question. The fact that I can't see half of you, because these chairs big up, means a lot of you probably can't see the board and aren't really even trying. Okay, so we're gonna do that question that's right next to the box. So 5x plus y equals 4, x minus y equals 2. So this is a completely different way of trying to solve the problems than substitution. My guess is if substitution seemed really easy to you and it made sense, then you're just going to prefer substitution from now on. If substitution didn't really make sense to you, there's a good chance this way will, this method. Okay? So before we even get to the multiplying part, what we're going to do is we're going to take the two equations and add them together. That's how the elimination method works. So like say this one, if I take 5x plus x, I would get 6x. And this one has a plus y and a minus y. So what would happen to them? They would cancel out. Yeah, I mean, like we could write 0y, but we wouldn't. And then the 4 plus 2 would give us 6. Now, because these y's were opposite of each other, they canceled out. And that helped us a lot because now we just have 6x equals 6. We would divide by 6 and get an answer right away. What we're going to do is we're going to use that fact that if they're opposite, they would cancel out. Well, I suppose we should should we find the second number right away, or do you guys feel comfortable finding the second number? No, we should do it, I could tell. Okay. Table 7. Oh, well, that was kind of rough. That was just you. All right. How do we find the second number, or how did we last time? How long have you been gone? One day. That's what's up. You were here last time. It was last week. When we did substitution after we found the first answer, how did we find the second?
You put the x in the x.
Okay, perfect. We're going to do the exact same thing. All that's going to happen is we're just going to randomly pick one of these two equations. Doesn't matter which one. So let's just say the bottom one. X minus y equals 2. And now we know the answer for x is 1. So we would say 1 minus y equals 2. And then kind of finish solving it from there. Now, this is slightly more annoying because it doesn't say x equals or y equals right away. Okay, So I would subtract 1, and then negative y equals 1. Divide by negative 1, and I get my second answer. Okay. Dominic, can you pick another number 1 through 12? 5. If I add these two lines right here in problem number 2, is anything going to cancel out? So nothing would cancel out the way it is right now, because if it would basically be 1y plus 1y. Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this multiplying fact that we did here at the very beginning, and we're going to multiply one of these two lines by some number. Let's pick the top one just because. Doesn't matter what. If I decide to multiply everything by negative 1, like that whole equation, it's going to turn into negative 1x minus 1y equals negative 3.
Why do you have to make it right by negative 1?
Don't worry about that yet. That's kind of the next thing I'm going to get to. So if I multiply the whole top equation by negative 1, now if I add the two lines together, those y's would cancel out. I'd have 7x cancel negative 7. And then I can find the answer for x right away. Okay, instead of me finding the second answer, I don't think you guys have a ton of room on your paper to write either, do you? No. So maybe what we're going to do is we're going to kind of choose this spot right here to write down the steps for elimination. Step number 1. The x's, the y's, and the numbers all have to line up. Bless you. Because if we're trying to add the two equations together, everything has to be lined up for it to work right. Step 2 is you're going to choose the x or the y to cancel. Ugh. It doesn't matter one bit which one you decide to cancel. The third step is that you're going to multiply each equation, if needed, I mean, the if needed part is there because you don't necessarily have to if it works out. Hi. Thanks. Okay, I don't know if you can read that or not. Multiply each equation, if needed, to make the x or y that you are trying to cancel have have opposite numbers. So Colin, you kind of asked why we multiplied that other one by -1. So I kind of mentally decided that we were going to cancel the y's, and they were both +1. So I multiplied one equation by -1 so that they would be opposite numbers. One of them would be a 1, one would be a -1. Oh, that's a lot smaller than I was trying to read. Is that too small from the back to read?
It's fine. Oh, wow.
All right. I realize you're not all blind like me. Now, this is all to find the first answer. I feel like I don't need to write the steps on how to find the second answer, but I can if you want me to.
Yeah, I don't think I do the second.
Okay? So you're going to add both lines together. This will find the first answer. I suppose you guys, can you guys even fit all this writing in that spot?
No.
Well, I apologize. Maybe I should have decided ahead of time and just crossed out this problem right below so we could write all the steps there. Okay, to find the second answer, pick any equation you started with. So to find the second answer, you're going to pick any equation that you started with, put your first answer in, and then that will find the second answer. And it'll definitely make more sense as we're doing the problems. I just wanted something written down so that you guys could look at it later if you needed to. Whenever you get done, we're going to do the problem in the middle, right here. That'll be the problem we're going to do together next. I know this seems like a lot of steps are written down. For the most part, you just need to remember that you're going to add together the lines. I mean, that's how we get the answers. The steps that I've written down are like all the details on how to add them. Okay, table 5. Do you guys still want to go, or do we want to choose another? Wow, okay. So you're choosing table 9? I see. Anakin, if I'm looking at this one, I put the green star by. first thing we're gonna do is look at the problem and see if anything would be like super compatible or cancel right away. Like if I add the two lines, would anything cancel? No, because we've got 1x, 2x, negative 3y, negative 1y. So nothing would cancel. So at that point, we just pick if we want to cancel x or y, and it doesn't matter. Which one do you want to cancel? X? Okay, so we are going to cancel the x. So I have a 1 on the top, a 2 on the bottom. Do you guys remember trying to do common denominators where you try to find the smallest number that they both go into? So they call it the least common multiplier. That's actually what we're trying to do here. If I have a 1 and a 2 on the bottom of the fraction, what can I turn them both into? We could make them both a 4. We could also make them both a 2. We could make them both an 8. It honestly doesn't actually matter what you turn them into as long as they're the same number. The smaller, the easier. But if you can't think of the smallest one, it's fine. So if you thought of 4 right away, that would work. Should we do the 4 just because some of you might have thought 4? Or should we go with the smallest one? Smallest? Okay. We can turn these both into a 2, which means this one I don't need to multiply by. It already is a 2. What do I want to multiply the one on the top by? Negative 2. I'm going to multiply everything on the top by negative 2 so that we have negative 2 and positive 2 so that when we add them, they cancel out. You're basically just going to decide what to multiply by to choose to cancel something out. Okay, if you want to rewrite both equations, you can. If you don't like doing that, you can just rewrite the one. Everybody likes to write these differently. So I'll rewrite both of them just for the sake of the problem. So negative 2x plus 6y equals positive 12. The bottom one was 2x minus y equals 3. Ooh, bad line. Okay, I'm going to try to add the two lines together now. Negative 2x plus 2x cancels. That's perfect. That's what we wanted. 6y minus 1y, 5y. 12 and 3 is 15. So we found the first answer that way. Anakin, which table do you want to choose? 12. 12? How do we go about finding the second answer?
You plug the 3 into the x minus 3 times 3 equals 6.
Okay, we can. So you're going to go and pick one of the two original equations. Doesn't matter which one you pick. Juliana just decided to pick the top one. So x minus 3y equals negative 6. And then I'm going to put 3 in place of y. So x minus 3 times 3 equals negative 6. X minus 9. And then we're going to add 9 to both sides. Oh, we're question on what? Or who said what? Yeah, okay. Well, it's fine. I absolutely interrupt me if I.
I get the third one.
Right here?
Yeah, like
So all we did is we rewrote one of the original equations. And then once we figured out that the answer for y was 3, we put that in place of y. So we've got 3 times the 3 we figured out. That's where the 9 came from. Also 3? The finding the second answer is technically the same as the last method. It just requires more work. You're just basically putting it back into one of the equations. Okay. I thought maybe what would be nice is we would go through together to figure out what to multiply things by, and then I'll let you guys go to work. So if we're looking at problem, I don't know what that would be, 3. If we add the 2 lines together, is anything going to cancel? No. So we have to choose which one to cancel out. I would recommend canceling the y's because they're pretty close. But if you decide to cancel the x's, you can. It's not going to be wrong. But I'd say let's pick the y's because there's less work. So I need to make one of these a positive 4. I'm going to multiply the top equation by -1. And the bottom equation by nothing. Oh, what the heck? And then that will allow me to cancel 1 out. Okay, looking at problem 3, 4, 5. If I add them right away, will something cancel? Yeah, the y's would. So I don't need to multiply by anything. I can just immediately add the 2 lines. Oh, that's the whole page? I thought there was 3 more problems on the bottom.
Yeah.
Where's my 3?
Check the next page.
I think this is your next page.
Yeah.
That's weird. Okay. Should I write them out by hand?
Yeah.
There, let me grab a packet.
We write the fifth one as x plus 5x, or we just combine the 2 x's.
You add down. Is that what they're asking me?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, who answered last? I think it was table 12. Who's going to answer next? 10. Table 10. What would I multiply something by here to make opposites? Okay, we can definitely do that. That would cancel out the y's. So you can multiply top line or bottom line. Let's just pick the bottom one for the heck of it to be different. So multiply the bottom line by -1, and that'll work. Table 10, do you want to pick somebody for me while I'm writing this out? Table 4. So multiply the top equation by -4. So that tells me you're choosing to cancel the x's. That would definitely work. I would probably do the same because canceling the y, well, actually canceling the y's we could multiply by 2, I guess. But no, that works good. Third problem, why don't you guys pick a table while I write this out? Table 3. Okay, table 3. Brody, Moa? You're table 3. Okay. Moa. What would I multiply the last problem by to make it work? Do you want to cancel the x's or y's? Let's start with that. Picking the y's would be easier because 14 and 7 are pretty close, and we can make that into a 14 easy. If we chose the x's, we would have to turn them both into 24. So multiply the bottom equation by what, Mala? 2. Way to help out. Multiply the bottom equation by 2, and then that'll make negative 14. Okay, this will help you finish the first page. Let's leave it at that for right now. So we have, I can't see the time, 10 minutes left? That's not a lot, I understand. If you want to work on this page, try to finish it. Obviously it'll be due at some point. But if you're not done with substitution, finish that. Okay, nice job.